It's a topic that can bring a real knot of anxiety to so many of us. How do we protect the older people in our lives from all these financial scams? Well, knowledge is power. So, in this explainer, we're going to turn that anxiety into action. We'll break down exactly how these scams work and, more importantly, the real concrete steps you can take to stop them. Okay, let's dive right in. First, just to get a sense of the scale of this thing, look at this number, $3.4 billion. That is how much money Americans aged 60 and over lost to fraud in 2023 alone. That's according to the FBI. So this isn't some small fringe problem. It's a massive, organized industry that's preying on our loved ones. So that brings us to the really crucial question, right? Why this group? I mean, scammers are strategic. They don't just pick their targets at random. There are some very specific reasons that older adults are right in their crosshairs. To build a solid defense, you first have to understand the offense. And that means we need to get inside the mind of a scammer for a minute and see the vulnerabilities they're just so eager to take advantage of. You see, scammers don't just see one little weakness. They see a perfect storm of factors. They target the wealth that's been built up over a lifetime, things like home equity and retirement funds. They exploit any hint of cognitive decline or physical issues that might make it harder to challenge them on the phone. And they also bank on the fact that a lot of older adults just grew up in a more trusting time. And maybe the most tragic part of all, they know that victims are often way too embarrassed or afraid of losing their independence to ever report the crime. So let's move on to the actual scams themselves. Now, they might seem super varied, but honestly, most of them fall into these predictable patterns. It's best to think of it as the scammer's playbook. And once you know the plays, you can see them coming a mile away. Okay, the first and by far the most common tactic is all about creating sheer panic. Scammers will pretend to be someone with authority, a government agent, a police officer, a tech support guy, to make you believe you're in some kind of immediate terrible trouble. Their whole goal is just to get your adrenaline pumping so you can't think clearly. And this fear tactic, it shows up in a few common ways. You've got the government scams, with threats of immediate arrest over unpaid taxes. There are the tech support scams, where a big pop-up screams your computer's infected and a fake technician offers to help. And then there's the cruelly effective grandparent scam, where they use a panicked voice, sometimes even an AI-cloned one, pretending to be a grandchild in jail or in a hospital, just desperate for money right now. Now, the second major tactic is basically the polar opposite. It's not a quick strike of fear. No, this is a slow burn. Scammers will spend weeks, even months, building a relationship, preying on loneliness and that deep human need for connection, just to gain their victim's trust. This quote, wow, it is just heartbreaking, and it shows you how deeply personal these attacks can be. So Beatrice met a man on a dating site not long after her husband passed away. She was lonely, and the scammer's photo happened to look a bit like her late husband. He exploited that vulnerability, built this completely fake relationship, and then eventually stole her money. This isn't just a financial crime. It is an absolute emotional violation. Okay, we've seen the problem. It's ugly. Now, let's build the solution. This isn't about being scared, it's about being prepared. We're going to outline the core strategies you can use to build a digital shield for yourself and for your loved ones. You can really boil down most prevention advice to these 4 pillars. 1, resist that pressure to act immediately. Scammers create urgency because their stories completely fall apart if you think about them for 2 seconds. 2, verify everything independently. If the IRS calls, hang up and call the real number on their official website. 3, guard your personal information like it's cash. And 4, recognize the massive red flag of weird payment methods. No legit agency is ever going to ask you for payment in gift cards, wire transfers, or crypto. Ever. If you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, please make it this. The single most powerful tool you have is verification. Before you do anything, before you click anything, before you send a dime, hang up, step away, and just verify the request through a trusted, independent channel you find yourself. And the contrast between a real request and a scam is it's stark when you see it side by side like this. A real organization gives you time. A scammer manufactures a crisis. A real organization will not threaten you. A scammer absolutely will. And a real organization uses normal payment methods, not gift cards. Spotting that difference is everything.
This applies to literally everything, from suspicious emails and texts to those unexpected links you get in a social media message. Cybercriminals use those links as the easiest way to install malware or just plain steal your data. So if you weren't expecting it, or if something just feels a little off, just delete it. It is never worth the risk.
So what if the worst happens? What if a scam actually works? I know it's a devastating moment, but acting quickly and decisively can make a huge, huge difference. There is a clear action plan to follow.
Okay, so the crucial thing here is to follow these steps in order. First, stop all contact. Block the number, the email, everything. Just cut them off. Second, call your financial institutions right away. The sooner they know, the better their chance of stopping or even reversing the payments. Third, freeze your credit. This stops them from opening new accounts in your name. And finally, report it. I know it can feel embarrassing, but reporting helps the authorities build cases and ultimately protect other people.
And you do not have to do this alone. The Department of Justice runs this fantastic, free, and confidential hotline. They have case managers who will walk you through the entire reporting process with care and with understanding. This is such a vital resource. So we'll end on this one thought. The single best defense against these scams is a community that is informed and vigilant. Seriously, talk about this stuff with your parents, your grandparents, your neighbors, your friends. The more people who know the playbook, the fewer victims there will be. Sharing this knowledge is such a simple act, but it could literally save someone their life savings.